I'm Ty, and I'm going to be reading and telling you more about Blackbeard the Pirate, navigation acts, and triangular trade. Okay, so Atlantic trade. In New England settlers engaged in three types of trade. First was the trade with other colonies. Second was the direct exchange of goods with Europe. The third type was triangular trade. Triangular trade was the name given to the route with three stops. For example, a ship might leave New England with cargo of rum and iron. In Africa, the captain would trade his cargo for slaves. Slaves then endured a horrible middle passage to the West Indies, where they were exchanged for sugar and molasses. Traders then took the sugar and molasses back to New England. There, colonists used the molasses to make rum, and the pattern started all over again. As you can see on this little chart here, New England would send rum and iron to Africa, and then Africa would trade the rum and the iron for slaves and gold, and then they would be sent on the middle passage to the West Indies, where then they were traded for sugar and molasses. And then it would just go round and around and around. There were several different triangular trade routes. Almost all involved the trade of enslaved Africans. In this example, slaves were sold in the West Indies. On other routes, they were sold in America. Okay, so New England won enormous profits from trade. England wanted to make sure that it received parts of those profits. So the English government began to pass the Navigation Acts in 1651. The Navigation Acts had four major provisions designed to ensure that England made all the money from the colonial trade. 1. All the shipping had to be done in English ships or ships made in the English colonies. 2. Products such as tobacco, wood, and sugar could only be sold to England or its colonies. 3. European imports to the colonies had to pass through English ports. 4. English officials were to tax any colonial goods not shipped to England. But even after the passage of the Navigation Acts, England had trouble controlling colonial shipping. Merchants ignored the acts whenever possible. Smuggling, importing or exporting goods illegally, was common. England also had great difficulty preventing pirates, like the legendary Blackbeard, which we'll get to in a sec, from interfering with colonial ships. So even though they tried to control all the trading that was done by the English colonies, they didn't do such a good job at it, because there's always those people that don't want to follow those rules, like the smugglers or the pirates. Okay, strange but true. Blackbeard the Pirate. Of all the pirates who attacked colonial ships, Blackbeard, shown below, there he is, he was the most famous. He was a fearsome man known to stick matches in his hair and light up his face during battle. Okay, that's kind of crazy. Blackbeard's pirate career finally came to an end in 1718 when Virginia's governor sent an expedition against him. Nearly half the expedition's men died in the key battle. Blackbeard himself did not fall until he had suffered nearly 25 wounds. Before sailing back to the port, sailors cut off his head and put it on the front of his ship. On the front of their ship. Okay, so there's Blackbeard. And yeah. So that is triangular trade, navigation acts, and Blackbeard the Pirate. Thanks for listening.